Hey guys, how's it going? I hope you're doing well. YouTube is being a little bit silly with me right now, and it's not showing me the live stream preview, but it does seem to be working okay from what I can tell. When I go edit in the studio, I can't see it, but when I see it on the other thing, I can see it. Anyway. Details. I hope you're doing good. It's a beautiful day in Montreal. We had a lot of fun with the tournament yesterday. If you haven't had a chance to check that out, I would encourage you to take a quick look. Um, and with that said, today I'm going to focus on a whole bunch of replays. I've got a ton of replays from Tanker, and then there's a few others from Sadao and so on sprinkled in. So I'm going to just go in the order of most recent to least recent. Uh, so let's get into it. So Tanker is also known as Gilles Le Breton. He's also known as Leader of Savages. He's got a couple aliases out there, but yeah. So let's see how this goes. We've got a matchup here: Beastmen versus Chaos. Some Chaos Warhounds getting in here on Marauder Horsemen. Tanker is playing the Beastmen. There's a Hell Pit in the back. Just an uncommon pick for Chaos, and probably a very poor pick against Beastmen as far as I can tell, because you don't necessarily need that armor penetration against the Beastmen. He's gonna try and snipe the Giant, so we'll see how well it does. Usually when I think of catapult type of like artillery, I'm thinking usually you're going to get your damage off of the explosion, which means that you want to be sniping more more like mass infantry, not individual entities like a giant. Something like a giant would be better handled with like a cannon, and you can see that even that last shot, it was a direct hit. It barely scratched him. Here's another one, and that one even missed. Like it's not a precise. It's not meant for sniping individual entities. That's what I'm trying to say here. So Tanker is rotating around the back. He's going to try and get that backline pressure, get in some rear charges and stuff. Hey, look, the Chaos has a giant of their own just chilling in the back. Let's see how that goes. Maybe we'll see a giant versus giant fight here. There's a British Shaman and a Beast, which should be able to pull up some Manticore summons, and then you have a Razorgore Herd. So these ones are already rampaging, actually. The damage from the Marauder Horsemasters has caused them to go like berserk, and actually, fortunately for Tanker, they're kind of rampaging into something he probably wants them to rampage into, which, well, yes or no. I mean, they do have AP. They'll do okay damage against the Chaos Warriors. With that charge bonus, they've already shredded about 20% of the HP off of that unit. Of course, they are in sustained combat. They're going to suffer because their melee defense is pretty poverty. But here comes the Giant. The Giant's going to come over there and help out a little bit. And rear charges across the flank for the Chaos Warriors. Getting hit with the Centaurs, but it looks like they decide to peace out here and maybe pressure out these skirmishers instead. I would have been okay with a couple cycle charges into their infantry and yeah, I don't know, maybe screen those skirmishers out just with the spheres. But anyway, the Pharaoh Manticore, looks like he's coming here to pressure the Chaos Sorcerer of Death. Some response from the Weird Spawn, which are going to do some pretty good damage on the Manticore, but not without taking some damage himself. And if Tanker can cut a few unit models off of there, that's going to be a win for him. Halakan is about to get run over here, of course. Morgar the Shadowgrave is able to pop these summons, and the Beastmen, like middle pocket pressure, is always very strong with the Morgar the Shadowgrave build. He can very easily sort of like push through the middle defenses, and yeah, it looks like a kind of a clean sweep across the board for Tanker. He was able to take out these two units here with the Terror of the Giant plus the damage of that Razorgore, and then some rear charges here. The Giant was way late to the fight here. I don't know if the Chaos player forgot about him, but he needed his damage much earlier in this fight, perhaps going after Morgan Shadowgrave or fighting against the Giant himself when the Chaos Warriors were going up here. But it would have been cool to see these two Giants just kind of bash it out. Now it's really Svigal just getting run over here, so I'm going to fast forward and yeah, maybe I'll even hop onto the next replay because this one is 100% done. So well played to Tanker there. I've got about 15 replays, so I'm going to just jump from one to the next and really focus on the gist. All about the gist. So I don't know which one I clicked on. That's kind of weird, but anyway, I'm going to try and go in actual order that I meant to go in now. So here we have Tanker playing the Vampire Counts going up against Kyle Gilchrist playing as Skaven. So Tanker's going with a double Vargulf build. The double Vargulf build can be very disruptive if you don't have adequate backline protection to deal with sort of like chariot type action. The Vargulfs can kind of run through the chaff screens of Skaven slaves, which most Skaven players like to bring, because they just don't have enough mass. So you need sort of Rat Ogres to deal with the Vargulfs. You probably need 2 units of Rat Ogres, I think, to keep them in place. The Skaven roster, it looks like pretty heavy shooting Teethbreakers, Rattling Guns, and more Natty Boobos in the back. So those are going to be looking, I guess, to snipe Cav. They are a little bit on a bit of a downslope here. Like if you look, these are downhill charges. If Tanker were to just push over the top, I think Skaven would probably be better off to square up like a little bit here, kind of towards the hill. But I guess he's trying not to corner off. But obviously, like if you were going to use the terrain, this would probably be the hot spot to do it, because it would be very difficult to get in rear charges and micro the Cav here. I do not like this map, by the way, for this reason, because look at how tight the edge of the map is to the deployment zone. And the same is true on the other side. I've often seen people in tournament plays set up like right here. They'll set up here, and then they're right next to the edge of the map, and it's brutal, because any offensive team has a lot of like difficulty putting in rear charges and stuff, because they just have no real estate to work with. So like a general comment across the board is, it would be nice to see I could give a little bit more buffer around deployment zones, so that you don't have like teams immediately corner camping. But anyway, so it looks like Skaven has angled off a bit, and actually look at how close they are to the edge. So not a lot of real estate here for a Tanker, but Tanker does have Vlad von Karstein, and he's one of those guys who can kind of just walk up and kind of go where he wants to go. He doesn't have to worry about it too much. Now, I do think the one potential weakness for Vlad von Karstein would be like a Skaven Assassin type of build, like with a Skarsnik. But in this case, the Skaven player has brought Lord Skrolk, so that's kind of good news for Vlad. So actually, it looks like they tried to snipe Vlad right off the start. They did some pretty good chunks to his damage, but he popped the Vlad Karstein ring, which is kind of like just, nope, Skaven, you can't shoot me. And he popped Invocation in the Hex, so that kind of negated a lot of that damage. He did rotate the Felbats around the back, and he's decided that now is the time to drop them, and I agree with that decision. Perhaps they could lift off and maybe tag the Warp Grinders as well, now that the Hell Pit and other things are there, because at this point they're pretty much just going to crumble out. My recommendation to people when they do have Felbats is try not to like stick them on one unit and then leave them there. Try and stick one unit, pull some resources over there, lift off, and then go hit another resource, and then that forces a bit more micro out of your opponent. The Black Knights are really nice picks. They're only $600 or $700. Look at all that damage that they put into these gutter runners with poison, and they also have good speed. Like they're debuffs right there, but base speed is 78. That's pretty fast for cavalry. It's faster than I think most Empire cavalry and Bretonnian cavalry, which usually sits in the 66 to 75 kind of bracket. So yeah, I mean, Black Knights, very, very cost efficient. I think they're probably the second best cavalry after the Chillgeist, which is an ROR, so it's kind of an unfair comparison. If you had to ask me what's the best like base unit, I would probably say these ones. I do think they outperform the regular Hex race. They're just so cost efficient for 600 gold or 700 or whatever they cost. It's very affordable. So Vargulfs, you can see that they're pushing into the backline, being very disruptive. They've already gotten onto one unit of, I believe these are Rattling Gunners, and then the Jezzails are trying to like head for the hills and find a bit of safety there. But the backlines are starting to get compromised across the board. There is, of course, Skrolk over here, so Vlad can push to Skrolk and just probably fight him in melee. It looks like he's headed towards him now. I'm going to fast forward a little bit here, see if he catches his guy. Over here, the Vargulf is going to just continue to cycle charge. He's going to try and get away from the Eshin Triads, which were sent to deal with him. So I think here, let's see if Vlad gets maybe a little distracted here. I think he's headed over here for some reason. I don't know what's over there. But Skrolk is over here, and I think that's where he would probably want to go. But here come the Skelly Spears trying to like just muck up the Hell Pit Abomination. The poison damage from the Crypt Ghouls is also going to help just nerf the stats of the Hell Pit a little bit. I think the Hell Pit needed to be in the back line over here, fighting against the Vargulfs, or at least scaring the Vargulfs away from his shooting. But instead, I've seen that the Hell Pit got pulled to the front line, and he was fighting over here for a little bit, and now he's shifted over and is fighting here with Vlad. The reason I think it got brought over to here is perhaps maybe he wanted to stop Vlad from just oh, here he goes, Vlad's chasing after Skrulk again, so I think he wanted to stop Vlad from just gooning out Skrulk. So he's running Skrulk back in here. Skrulk is popping Rod of Corruption. That's going to do a lot of damage to 5 units. That's like a huge AoE spell. That is keeping the balance bar close, actually. That Skrulk cast just pulled the balance bar, I think, a little bit closer to Skaven. But yeah, in the back line, just a very hard time for these gutter runners. They're just getting hit again and again. And the Varghulf, like, he doesn't really care too much about the skirmish damage. Like, it's going to heal through a lot of that, like, light pebble sort of action. So yeah, Skrulk's kind of getting bogged down in here. Vlad is close. It looks like Vlad has decided to attack the Hell Pit Abomination instead of Skrulk. I think he could probably just turn around and kill Skrulk. But yeah. Let's see. In the back line, we've got Gutter Runners, or sorry, Rattling Guns that have just rallied. There's the really depleted Giselles over here. One thing that did happen is I think these Work Grinders, maybe they weren't on guard mode and they got pulled out chasing a unit of Black Knights. They've been kind of away from the fight for most of the game, but they are just being like rallied to pull back into the fight here. But in the main engagement, we've got Vlad and his Varghulf buddy just smacking Lord Skrulk. Skrulk is taking a beat down here. Of course, as Skrulk goes, that's going to have a huge influence on the balance of power. You can see with Skrulk wavering already, it's starting to shift very dramatically because he does pull the balance bar so far. He's kind of like a Noctilus or one of those types of characters that can single-handedly win or lose you the game. But without the Hell Pit able to like knock the Varghulf away, and with the full surround situation, even the mighty Skrulk is going to be overwhelmed by his ratty instincts, and that will secure the deal. So the Varghulf, I think, is going to make it official with a few more whacks on Skrulk. But yeah, so congrats to Tanker on that win. I'm going to hop into the next replay because I got a bunch more to do. We've got Beastmen versus... Whoa, it just jumped there. Beastmen versus Dwarfs. So I think this is a tough matchup for the Dwarfs. So I'm curious to see what the Dwarfs are going to do. At least the traditional Dwarf build. Maybe if you go with like Rangers, Gyrocopters, regular Dwarf Warriors, because you probably don't need much AP, you might be okay here. I mean, this Dwarf has kind of done that, but he is still pretty boxy. Against Beastmen, that can be a double-edged sword, because Beastmen can go so wide, but yeah, we'll see. I do think this is a very tough matchup for Dwarfs, and I would probably not want to go as Dwarfs against Beastmen on ladder. These Thunderers are very, very close together, so actually all of this shooting pocket is very close together. So this is like, I'm going to call this the bowling ball defense, because you see this a lot, except this is kind of like the reverse bowling ball. So here are your pins right here. You make a triangle, and then you put all your shooting in the middle. A lot of players like to do that, and I think it's safe because they got all of this stuff here, but it's not really that safe because I don't think, because any high mass unit, if it gets past your first one, it's going to lock up 4 units at once, and that's going to shut down all of your shooting in one go. So we'll see if Tanker is able to do that in this game. I have not seen this replay, and I do not know if Tanker has like the high mass units, but there are Harpies here. So first charge is here. Oof, a lot of damage going into the Brave Shaman Beast. I think he was trying to bait out the miners with blasting charges, their ammo. He did get the blasting charge ammo from one, but 2 other miners with blasting charges, 4 other miners with blasting charges still have their ammo. The Iron Drakes are going to get locked up here. Takes to send in a charge here on some regular Dwarf Warriors. They do have charge defense, I believe. Yep, that's across the board. The Dwarves do have charge defense pretty much. And ooh, nice side shots here from the miners with blasting charges. So Dwarf gimmicks with the miners definitely doing a lot of work here. Balance bar is early on in favor of the Dwarfs, but that's not uncommon because they have shooting. So factions with shooting tend to be a little bit ahead of the curve, at least early on. But We'll see if Tanker's able to slip the gap here. That does look like there's a bit of a hole between the Iron Breakers and the shooting. Iron Breakers probably need to square up then and close that gap. And here comes Tanker, definitely identifying that and sending his wolves into the Thunderers here. Gonna muck them up a little bit, but the fire from the Iron Drakes is a big deal, and these guys don't have great leadership, and the fire does apply a leadership penalty, so that's gonna make it much easier to break off the wolves and send them scurrying into the distance, and that's what's happening here. I do like the Iron Drake pick from the Dwarves right now. They're causing Tanker all kinds of problems. So unless he has a Manticore summon or something like that, that can shut down the Iron Drakes for a little bit while his front line kind of tries to overwhelm the Dwarves, I think it's going to be tough for him. So here comes a Manticore summon right on cue. Let's see how that goes. The Dwarf leadership is a Runelord, by the way, so we'll see if he's able to keep his boys fighting. But a lot of stuff is starting to get mucked up here. The Thunderers are stuck up in, I don't know, some spears or something like that. Some, yeah, Ungor spears. So they're not really shooting. I'm seeing a couple puffs here and there from the Iron Drakes, but it's not really like, for the most part, they're not really clean shots. But yeah, Dwarves are still holding strong. There's a unit of Dwarf Warriors wavering here that almost broke off. In the air, there's some gyrocopters, which I think are shooting down. I don't know what they're sniping. Maybe the Harpies right now? I'm not sure. Oh, but this unit of Iron Drakes, it looks like they've been freed up. So that could be putting some punishing damage into the Beastmen really soon. We'll have to watch that closely. A lot of stuff is breaking off here. It's actually going pretty much in favor of the Dwarves. So maybe I was incorrect on my initial assessment, but we shall see. Chaos Spawn have been summoned. We'll see if they're the straw that can break the camel's back, or whatever the expression is. Manticores are in here too. They are doing some damage to the Thunderers. The Terror can perhaps cause them to break. We shall see. The Chaos Spawn are making a desperate push over here to these Iron Drakes, just trying to shut down the flame damage, because that flame damage has been super punishing. On the periphery, it does look like there's a few units that have rallied and regrouped, and they're going to try and get in here and just continue to keep the pressure on the Dwarves. So a lot of stuff is wavering, but still holding strong. I do think Tanker's going to have difficulty dealing with the Gyro Bombers if it does go to late game, because a lot of his air pressure is off the field right now. And it does look like a few more Bestigors perhaps were just needed to do some damage here. I haven't seen many Vortex spells, so I think maybe he only brought the Brave Shaman Caster of Beast, and it looks like it's been shattered. I didn't catch what killed it there. Maybe it was a Gyrocopter, I'm not really sure. But without the Vortex spells, then it is a bit easier for the Dwarves to kind of just turtle up around the Runelord. But Runelord is taking some whacks now from Morgr the Shadowgrave. That's a good situation for Tanker, I believe. I know Morgr is fully surrounded here, but I do think Morgr should be a better combatant than the Runelord. But, oh, some Thunderer shots are going into Morgr here. Or maybe it's into the Centaurs. The Centaurs have been snared, so just that Runelord is really shutting down the mobility of the Beastmen. There's a second unit of Centaurs which is not snared. They're going to come into the Thunderers here, I believe. Probably shut them down. They're so low on leadership. Oh, it looks like they just got intercepted partway through there. If they would have just tagged it, they would have... Oh, there we go. Tanker just force pathed his way through here. Those Centaurs should be able to break the Thunderers. I mean, maybe he's going to be able to get some second charges in here, but it's looking pretty grim for the Beastmen. All of the infantry is very depleted at this point. The summons are down, and I don't think Morgr is going to be able to hold here, but he does pop the leadership buff. That keeps his Bestigor fighting just a little bit more, but no, they're going to break. These Centaurs probably need to be second charging, but the Gyros are hitting them now and limiting their mobility. So actually, you know what? Don't listen to me. What do I know? The Dwarves, I guess they were able to hold on and win that one with their boxy formation. I do like the Gyrocopter picks. I think the Blast with the mining charges give Tanker a lot to think about. He needed some interrupts on them, and his ratio of beasts was probably not enough. I think he needed a Vortex spell, and I think he needed another Chariot there. Probably too many Chaos Warhounds with poison. The Dwarves are not the fastest unit army in the world, and I think the poison is mostly useful for controlling movement control. I know it does other stuff as well, nurse weapon damage and missile damage or whatever, all that other goodness, but I think regular Chaos Warhounds would have been fine, and probably like 2 or 3 of them. 4 is a lot, but yeah, four Chaos Warhounds and 2 Harpies. That's a lot of suppression. It's good if the Dwarves go wide. If they box up, you're going to have a hard time, I think, punching through them. So maybe cut 1 of the Harpies and 1 or 2 of the Chaos Warhounds for Yeah, no, I think 2 Warhounds and 2 Harpies is good, or like, or four Warhounds and no Harpies. Probably cut the poison, grab an extra Bestigor unit, and otherwise, I think it was okay. And I think somehow you gotta work in another chariot. I don't find that traditional cavalry does very well against Dwarf. I get better performance with chariots because they have more mass. They can push through infantry, whereas the chariots tend to get stuck up on them, and then because of the charge defense, and then they just get whittled down over time. So, yeah, that's my suggestion. Not the best. Um, so we got Beastman versus Lizardman. Tanker's bringing his Morgor build again here. This time he's going with some Minos to give him a little bit of anti-large. If the Lizardmen were to go with the big dinos like we often see. So what do we have here? We've got a Brave Shaman of Beast. He's got the Manticore Summon. On the flank, we have the Razorgore Herd. This is what Glacial Lake, so it's a very small map. They're going to get into it right away. Charge coming in here for some Cold One Spear Riders. Looks like they're going after the Chaos Warhounds, but a counter charge, a little bait and switch action going on from Tanker, and it is going to be successful. The charge gets intercepted partially. These ones are still wavering, surprisingly. Wow, they still broke. Unbelievable. But yeah, the Razorgore Herd doing some really cost-effective damage against these Cold One Spear Riders. They're probably going to rampage soon too. Charge from the Minotaurs coming in the back and Spears. So they're going to get wrapped up. That's a costly unit to use right away, to lose right away for the Lizardmen. Over here, Skinks are going to wrap up some Spears. Let's take a look on the other side of the battlefield. Minotaurs are going to come in here and assist in the annihilation of this unit of Skinks. But Skinks are screening for this unit of Hunting Pack. But the Hunting Pack, it looks like they're a little indecisive here. They kind of wasted their chance to shoot. They could have shot in at the Minotaurs, the great weapons, and now they're getting plastered. If you are going to bring this unit, I do think one thing you might want to consider is comboing it with Mastamundi and the net, because their range is fairly limited. In spite of their foot speed, which is around the 70, they could have kited the Minotaurs if they were paying attention. Their range is still only 100, so the net can give them a little bit more time to shoot, because a lot of units in the game can close can close 100 range pretty quickly with their foot speed, and they cannot fire while moving. So yeah, that's why I think a net's a good choice. You're going to bring those over here. The other unit, Cold One Spear Riders, is going to win against this unit of Razorgore Herd and so on, but looks like Tanker's pushing through the front line pretty well. On the far side, some Chameleon Skinks are being chased down by the Minotaurs and the Spears. I don't think it's the best use of the Minotaurs. These guys got 48 speed. These guys have 47 speed when they're debuffed by the poison. I think the Minotaurs really need to refocus and get in here on the Skink Priest of Heavens. Try and take him out of the game. That's why you brought him. He's the anti-large specialist. Let the Brave Shaman of Beasts go after, on the Chariot, go after the Skirmishers. That's what the Chariot would be much better at doing. So this engagement definitely favors the Lizardmen in my opinion. But I guess Tanker's decided to use the mass of the Chariot to kind of pin this guy in place. And the Man Ripper should do very well against the large Dino, but yeah, no, that's a cost. I think it's a costly loss for Tanker, but he does only have the Manticore Summon there. I don't know if he's used both Manticore Summons yet. He does have a unit of archers in the back. He does have a unit of the Warhounds that, remember, they broke early. They could probably be brought back here and used to rear charge some stuff, excuse me, or just screen out the skirmishers, right? But this flank has been won by Tanker. There's this Tic-Tac-Toe who's could possibly chase off the Brave Shaman of Beast, but it looks like he's got a lot to think about right now. Yeah, I don't know if going in the air is going to help out your front line enough against Beastmen. They are kind of a horde faction, so yeah, I don't know what openings Tic-Tac-Toe is really going to have in this one. At least not alone. Well, he does drop a nice little bomb there. That's cool. Did some cute damage to the Cork Man Rippers, but no, I think that his opponent surrendered, and that's a win for Tanker. So congrats, Tanker, against Bully Man. We got the next one. I think I saw this one. No, yeah, here. Oh, Kyle Christ against Tanker. So we saw Kyle Christ earlier playing Skaven. We're going to see him play Empire against Tanker and see if he does any better. So Kyle Christ is rocking a steam tank with 2 units of Huntsmen. It's got 3 units of archers, some spearmen, a light wizard for some movement control. He does also have Marcus Wolfheart with the net, and then a cannon. I'm assuming he has a net. So he has 2 copies of a net basically. So really try to limit the Beastman mobility, and then his hope is to kind of blast them to pieces. I do think it's hard to protect a regular cannon against Skaven, so we'll see. Sorry, against Beastman, so we'll see if he's able to do that. Again, I'm going to play this battle on fast forward because, like I said, I have a lot of replays to get through. Marcus Wolfert going to shoot in here on mostly chaff. I think he probably wants to. Yeah, let's slow down a bit here. Front gate, the initial engagements are important. So where are the Harpies going to go? They're probably going to shut down the cannon crews for a little bit, or perhaps the archers. I might even be tempted to land them right away on the Altdorf Griffites, because if you land the cannon crew, the Griffs, these guys are probably just going to charge you, and then you take the charge bonus to the face instead of like suppressing them and getting the charge bonus on them. So Tanker, it looks like he's trying to tag 3 units in one go, and he kind of sort of did that. So he does get in on the Greek cannon. We'll see if the Altdorfs respond. A little bit late to the party here. Tanker is microing a ton of things right now, but he's more than capable of microing 20 units at a time, and he's showing his micro skills here for sure. So Spearmen are pushing out here. They're going to try and hold the line against the Gore Herd with the Overwatch fire from the archers, and it seems like they're doing an okay job so far. So let's see if Morger can come in here and tip the balance a little bit. He is usually kept in reserve a little bit by Tanker, but he doesn't have to worry excuse me, too much about something like a Boris or a Karl Franz just flying over and hitting him, because it looks like the Empire has gone with a static build. Here's the first net that we're seeing. I don't know if this one came from Marcus or from the Lightcaster. I'm assuming it's from that was kind of cool, from Marcus. We did see a shot come across the line against the Brave Shaman from the Lightcaster. He had the what's it called? Laser, I don't know. Light of Battle or something. Not Light of Battle. It's the other one. What's this called? This. Shem's Burning Gaze. Shem is burning with his gaze. And then here we have the Steam Tank. Going to be attacked by the Manticore. Manticore is probably one of the few things that's going to be able to hold the Steam Tank in place and do like a reasonable amount of damage. It does have about maybe 125 200 armor pen, let's see. So it's chipping down the Steam Tank decently well. Steam Tank does have pretty poverty melee defense, remember, so pretty much every one of those hits from the Manticore should go through. The Harpies are still mucking stuff up with the Royal Altdorf Griffites over here fighting against Razorgore Herd and Gore Herd. That means that all of this is wide open. Of course, these are kind of anti-large specialists, which won't be the best at clearing Harpies anyways. If you're going to bring a cannon and 2 units of crossbows, you probably want to bring some Flagellants, because they're going to do much better against Harpies and stuff like that than I don't know, spears and Altdorfs. So Empire player might want to really look at his build a little bit there. So it looks like pretty much most of the shooting pocket has been compromised now, so I think we can see sort of which way this is going. Morgan's going to run his butt off against to tag Marcus, and Marcus isn't going to want any of that. So Tanker is going to come out on top with this battle as well. So congrats to Tanker against Kyle Gilchrist. So we've got another one here. Tanker's playing Norska against the Vampire Counts. The Red Duke. No, that's a Blood Dragon Vamplord, who looks like he hasn't slept in weeks. He's been playing too much Warhammer. And then we have Tanker with the good old-fashioned Marauder Chieftain. So this should be a fun matchup. Terror can be an issue against Norska. They are not super great on the leadership department. And you've got one faction which like really relies on just bursting things down with damage, and another faction that tends to rely on just grinding things out with damage. So we'll see how it goes. The Feral Mammoth, I think, is an MVP pick in this matchup. Not so much for the Terror, but for the fact that it can just run over infantry if you do see like a traditional slow grind death ball here, which is what the Vampires have brought. They're limited in mobility outside of the Chill Guys. The Chill Guys are the most important unit for this death ball to work, because they're the unit that's going to pin stuff in place. There is a unit of Blood Knights as well that can also support. I mean, it's not a full death ball. It's kind of a balanced infantry grind type of build from the Vampire Counts. But the White King, Vlad, Blood Dragon Vamplord, come on, Under, pay attention, and the other White King is going to give like an on-foot hero pocket that should be pretty strong. And yeah, I don't know if that's the right choice against Norska, because they tend to bring a lot of chariots, so a Footlord would be difficult. Um, and you don't have to be too worried about shooting from Norska. So maybe this is the matchup you put him on a big dragon mount. But interestingly, the Marauder Chieftain is also on foot here. Let's pay attention to this over here. Chillgeist are very fast. Tanker's got to be really careful. These Marauder Horsemen are not going to be able to kite the Chillgeist if the Chillgeist decide to commit. 94 speed versus 90 speed plus the slowing aura. You can't forget this. This is what makes the Chillgeist. Minus 36% speed. That is massive. That puts these guys down to like, let's see. All right, it's not showing for some reason. It looks like the most of the unit was able to skip the aura, but these ones in here are definitely being affected by it because they've killed a few unit models, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Surprisingly, not as much as I would have expected. Oh, this unit got wrecked though. Maybe it was fighting this unit. Let's see. The Chillgeist can deal with that, but if they're off fighting with these skirmishers, that is leaving a little bit the front line vulnerable here. And Tanker is taking advantage with his other unit of skirmishers. That's a lot of resources to commit to dealing with one unit of Marauder Horsemasters. Yes, they can tag them, but they're going to chase them pretty far. And in the meantime, look at what's happening. 500 gold worth of value is being chunked away. I'm assuming, this is Unholy Lodestone. So maybe 350. I don't know. So is this also Unholy Lodestone? No, this is a regular one. Corpse Guard. Anyway, so infantry's pushing in here. Looks like Tanker's trying to escape with his spears. The Karen Race have pretty good foot speed. Let's see, it's around 48. So they're going to be able to tag the Marauder Streamer and do a lot of damage in the back. A lot of kiting action trying to go on here from Tanker. He is trying to get a little bit out of the way. Cryptors have been isolated though. Cryptors will do very well against infantry if they have like a screen of zombies, but they have no zombie screen here. So I think the Blood Dragon Vamphlord's got a drop of a zombie screen here to help out his Cryptors, and then probably pop an Invocation. There's the zombie screen probably going down right there. Yeah, a little bit late here, but the Cryptors can heal. They're gonna fall back and they're gonna be okay. They'll live to fight another day. Looks like one unit of Marauder Horsemasters was able to get away surprisingly. It is very depleted, only 14 unit models. I guess the Vampire player decided to pull his other resources back to the fight because he needs them right now, and I agree with that. Meanwhile, these other ones are still shooting in on the corpse cart, and there's not really an answer to that. So maybe some Dire Wolves or something would have been good instead of the Blood Knights here. I don't know. We'll see. I guess the Blood Knights are going to be responsible for somehow killing this Feral Mammoth at some point in time. Helm of Discord being popped by the Blood Dragon Vamphlord, but he is taking a ton of damage from this Feral Mammoth, who's just walking over to him and crushing him. This is why I was saying you probably don't want to bring a Footlord against Norska. If they have a Feral Mammoth, if they have chariots, you're going to get smashed, man. And he got absolutely run over by this Mammoth. Like, this is just brutal damage from the Feral Mammoth. I think this is why I was saying, like, again, vampires, they really struggle against large, and if you don't bring enough anti-large tools, you're going to get crushed. I mean, Norska is a faction that specializes in large, and they're, like, the Feral Mammoth took no damage. You just completely run over that Footlord. Bounce are still fairly even. Skirmishers are still kind of being a nuisance, but they're just, like, too many resources are being committed to chasing around skirmishers, and they'll kill a couple models here or there. The only unit that's going to kill them is the Chillgeist. Everything else has no business being there, and it should be committed to this frontline fight. So Tanker has been able to successfully distract his opponent from that sort of like death ball grind kind of strategy that he wanted to do, I'm sure, when he initially made his army select. And yeah, I think you're going to start to see a lot of things crumble out. I mean, now it's, in my opinion, it's probably just a formality here unless the Marauder Chieftain somehow dies, but no, this Feral Mammoth is healthy. We'll watch the Blood Knights and see if they're able to tilt anything, but I don't think so. I don't think so. So that's battle number 1. Here comes battle number 2. No, the Vamps just surrendered here, so there you go. Cool stuff. I like it. I mean, Marauder Chieftain, he's got his 20 unit cards as he always does. 6 units of skirmish gave the Vamps nightmares, but it's good for picking apart like a Death Ball build, which it certainly did there. And the Mammoth was, MVP for sure. And Mammoth was so good. And against Vampire Counts, I'd be tempted to bring two Mammoths. You can possibly do 3 at the risk that your opponent might say you're cheesing them. Oh, we have another replay here. So the last game was Kusiva versus Tanker. We got another one here between Kusiva and Tanker. Kusiva is playing the Skavens, the Dirty Dirty Rats. Tanker is playing the Beasties. And it's going to be traditional pick from Tanker with the Morgor the Shadowgrave. We're going to see how it does against the Filthy Rats. Again, I think it's really hard to bring static shooting against Beastmen. You probably want to go with mobile shooting options like the Gutter Runners and all that kind of stuff. Because, yeah, I mean, Beastmen, they can bring a lot of numbers very easily, and they get in on the flanks, summon Manticores, things like that. And it's going to make it very hard to protect all of this. So he's got 4 static units here. Yes, he's got summons, but you can only summon so many units at a time. The 2 Rat Ogres are going to be hard-pressed in the back here to try and keep everything online. There are no Warp Grinders. There's very little chaff on the flanks, so Tanker's going to see that and take advantage right away. Already a unit of Chaos Warhounds with Poison have been able to tag the Natty Boobos. Overwatch Fire coming from the Ungor Raiders, doing a lot of damage here. On the far flank, Ungor Raiders again chipping down the Skaven Slay's Spear, and then it is Slays, right? Yeah, Slays. And then I have Plague Monks getting in on some Goreherd. I don't know if that's a summoned unit or not. I think it's a real regular Plague Monks. Shots from Rattling Gunners. They're doing a lot of damage here, but here come the Goreherd. I guess they were vanguarded. I'm not entirely sure about that, but they're being chased by some Rat Ogres. But Rat Ogres, they're not optimally used. Optimally used, is that a word? Against Goreherd. They'll probably win if they're mixed in with Chaff, but they're better for going after Cavalry. Honestly, there's better tools for killing Chaff, which of course would be, you know, your Plague Monks, right? Or your regular good old-fashioned Clan Rats, 350 gold or 300 gold or whatever they are, depending on whether you want to soup them up with shields or not. Or Lightning Cannons getting taken offline here, and we have the Plague Priest in tough, now getting charged by the Brave Shaman, and is Morgor coming over there to assist? He is. So always late to the party, but fashionably so. He's going to show up here and try and take out the Plague Priest and do a good job there. Hi guys. I got Sadao and Tanker joining me on the replays. What's up, guys? Hope you're doing good. I'm just streaming all the games. If you're just tuning in now, Sadao from that Tanker Submit kind of over the last little while. Looks like he's been having a lot of success on ladder so far from the games that I've seen. He has Submit wins as well as losses, so I do feel like I'm getting somewhat of a balanced picture. You never know. Maybe he screened out the worst losses. I do think it would be fun one day to get people to post like their most embarrassing losses and just do like a fun, just for fun show on like the worst losses you've ever had. I'd probably have to go a little bit back in time to do that, and maybe the replays wouldn't even work anymore. But anyway, if I look back at probably games from like 2 years ago, I'd probably like really laugh hard. Or like 2 weeks ago, I still have dumbass mistakes. Anyways. Beastmen versus, oh, so we just saw that one. So we got Lore Masters versus Beastmen. High Elves, so I think the trick for the High Elves against the Beastmen is probably Terror. I mean, you want to terror out the Beastmen. That's true for a lot of factions. If you can bring a terror-causing unit against Beastmen, that is, oh, you got to set out, you got a bad loss? Yeah, feel free to show it to me. We can laugh about it. Okay. Yeah. Terror-causing units can be an issue against Beastmen. It's hard to fight and like grind down all the Beastmen units. So interesting formation here. So we saw earlier like a boxy dwarf formation gave Tanker some problems. Here we're seeing like a high elf version of that. So you got a Snare from Teclis. Of course, he's not a Rune Lord, but he can cast a Flaming Sword of Ruin, and because his units are all tagged together here, he can give every single one of these units that buff from the Flaming Sword of Ruin with a single cast. That's a big deal. That's 25% weapon strength for his entire army and magic damage. And I don't know how much physical resist there is on the Beastman roster. I don't think there's a lot of it. So, and I don't think there's a lot of regen either. But still, damage is damage. So we'll see if that is a factor. And we'll see, like, Tanker tends to bring a lot of suppression tools, like the Warhounds and other things. So boxy formations might give Tanker some problems if he doesn't have the Vortex spell, because he doesn't have the ability to just punch through a front line, because everything is a little bit finesse. In this case, I do think he has some punch, though. He's got Minotaurs. I do see one unit. He's got regular Centaurs. Ooh. This unit of Centaurs has been tagged by the Flamespire Phoenix, maybe just trying to buy a little bit more time. There's a Beastman response here, and it's doing a lot of damage, I think, to this Flamespire Phoenix. Of course, Teclis can heal the Flamespire, and I do think the Flamespire should be able to get out of the way here. The Chaos Warhound. Oh, the Chaos Warhounds decided not to chase it. I think they could have done it. Ooh, there's a little bit of weird pathing going on there. They're just kind of rubbing shoulders together. But here comes the main fight. Tanner's going to get in charge here with the Chaos Warhounds and the Centaurs and the Swordmasters. Swordmasters do have a lot of chevrons. Healer's going to come. Oh, there's the Flaming Sword of Ruin. A little bit off center though. I think he wanted to cast it on the Everqueen's Court Guard, and it looks like he cast it on the Bolt Thrower. So actually the Flaming Sword of Ruin is not tagging these three units in the front, so they're not getting the buff. That's a misplay from the High Elf player for sure. The Chaos Warhounds are going to try and get in here. Are we going to see the big Phoenix come down here? It looks like it, but way too late. It's a waste of money most of the time. No, I'm not seeing any Razorgore here, I don't think. Razorgore would have been really good against Swordmasters, but actually just repeated cycle charges from the Centaur seem to be doing pretty good work here. Tanker's decided to lock up the Phoenix Guard with Spears, which is the right play, so nice job there from Tanker. Bombs coming down here from the Flamespire onto the Centaurs, which is, again, a good play here. Another charge going into the Swordmasters. They are holding pretty firm, though. Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower is tied up, not doing too much. Archers are obstructed. This unit of archers is supposedly firing. I do not know what they are firing at. Fear Manticore has been summoned. Is it going to try and go and take the fight with the Flamespire? Or is it going to dive the Archer backline? Both are good options, to be honest. Or Teclis. Or it could just go after Teclis. It does look like he's gone after the Flamespire. Just try and bully that a little bit and buy some breathing room for Morgor. Morgor could probably... I would try and ignore the Flamespire if I could, probably, and just go over there and put some damage on Teclis. Teclis has got his magical sword here. You could probably use that better than popping it and going into Ungor's Spearman. He's probably overkilling those Ungor Spearmen, but anyway. Brave Chamois Beast is going to get in here, just enough damage to break that. I don't know what it says terrified. Is the Manticore that terrifying? I don't know what's terrifying them. That's kind of weird. But the Swordmasters have buckled and broken. Phoenix Guard's still fighting strong, but that little pocket has collapsed for the High Elves, and now I think it's going to be G to the G for the High Elves. Are we going to see another Flame Sword of Ruin going down here? We do see a Chain Lightning drops from Teclis, but I think it's a little bit too late there and a bit off target. And yeah, full collapse here. We know which way this game is going, and I'm just going to fast forward to make it official. Yeah, it's done. Okay, so on to the next one. I agree, it's a bit of a new box, but sometimes new boxes can work if you don't bring the right tools in your army select. Not often, but if you forget your vortex spells at home, you forget your chariots, and you forget your AP infantry, a new box can sometimes work. So which one did we just see? We just saw Beastman versus High Elf. So here we got Beastman, Double Stag, Dreadsaw. So Tanker's playing Beastman again. So I was kind of teasing Tanker because I have him categorized in the Beastman section of our Discord with the Satyrs, which Satyr, I guess those are like those goats, like half man, half goat in mythology. So they kind of remind me of Beastmen. So that's but it also sounds like satire. Dumb joke. Anyways. So I had Tanker classified there because he used to play a lot of Beastmen, but he'd kind of gone away from it lately. So I was like, what's the deal, man? There's so few Beastmen players. We need some Beastmen representation. So he's like, yeah, I'm going to go back to my roots. So that's why I think we're seeing so many Beastmen games today. He just wanted to keep his legacy online there. He'd been playing a lot of Greenskins, Bretonnia, and other things like that lately. So yeah, it's so cool. Whatever's fun for you, honestly. It doesn't do whatever's fun. But Brave Chamois Beast getting whacked here from the Shredder of Lustria. So early misplay from Tanker, a rare misplay. Usually he's very careful with this stuff. And he might not even get a single Manticore cast out of that Brave Chamois, and that would be absolutely devastating to Tanker. Of course, he does have the Giant, though. I do like the Giant pick in this matchup against the Lizardmen. So 2 Giants versus the Shredder of Lustria. That is an awesome fight. I do think the Giants should come out on top. But the Shredder of Lustria is fighting in here with the Source Old Blood and 2 units of Spears. And the Spears are getting the Source Old Blood standard ground buff, as is the Shredder of Lustria. So Shredder of Lustria is up to 58 melee defense. That is huge. The Giants have really good melee attack, though, actually. 65 melee attack means most of their attacks should hit. But the question is Tanker going to be able to get a 2v1 sort of scenario? Or actually, it looks like Tanker's able to get the giant on the Source Orblood. Source Orblood is a good combatant. He does have 360 weapon strength, no AP. So it's the Source Scarvets that have the AP, I believe. Sorry, the anti-large. This guy does not. But yeah, it looks like the giant's going to just stomp him into the ground. So one giant was keeping this one on as the other giant was over here. Tanker does have a unit of Minotaurs with shields. That is going to give some mass for this other's chaff so it doesn't just get run over, and some damage. It's not the one with the... it's not the great weapon variant, so it doesn't... It's not going to do as much damage to the Stegodon as a great weapon variant would do, but it still will do some decent damage. Even the Skinks, of course, are going to be able to shoot into the back and debuff some of their damage as well. So it's kind of even there, but Giant's going after his buddy over here. The Source Old Blood is on horseback, so the Giant's going to have a hard time catching him unless the Lizardman player kind of loses track of his micro here. Fortunately for Tank here, it looks like the Brachium Beast has rallied, so probably we'll see another Manticore summon coming in here. Hey, look, there it is. Getting down on the old Source Old Blood, so fortunate break there for Tanker, and that will probably pin him in place because it does have enough speed to make it difficult for the Source Old Blood to just disengage, and then the Giant can get over there and whack him. Court Mortar is going to help out with that as well. So yeah, crazy battle going on here. No heals available for the Shredder of Lustria though. That is one thing I would say. If you are going to bring the Shredder of Lustria, you might want to think about bringing some heals for him. He's got a regular Stegodon, another regular Stegodon, and then the Shredder of Lustria. It's just kind of too much. In my opinion, I think you could cut one of these stegs for a Revik Crystal. You would still have a rock solid build, but you just take some pressure off of that Shredder of Lustria, make it that much harder to deal with. So at this point, I think you can start to see which way the balance bar is going. I do think those Giants paid major dividends against the Lustrious Lustrians. So yeah, nice Tanker. Yeah, exactly. I love the Giants, and it's cool to see them. They're getting more play lately, I think people have figured out how to make the Giants work. They used to be kind of a meme unit, and everyone didn't like them because they just get shot, and I get it, but there are some matchups where they can pay dividends. So which one did we see here? We saw this one. We saw, okay, Beastmen versus Warriors of Chaos. Actually, I think I cast that one already. Oh, this is, okay, so... yeah, I keep going down the list. This is one I played last night against Invicta. So you might know him. He's got a YouTube channel, Invicta. Like he does historical content and all this other kind of stuff. You can find him on YouTube. And it's good. It's good stuff. I'm actually a fan. So I said to him, "Oh yeah, you're the guy from the YouTube channel. I like your content." He was like, "Oh yeah, thanks. A really nice guy." And I ended up reconnecting with Ryan last night, who used to be like one of our main members, I guess, in the Dark Dynasty clan when we were just starting out, back when we were in the Steam days before Discord. So he's just kind of rejoined our group, so that's cool stuff. Welcome back from your little vacation there, the hiatus. So yeah, so I've gone with sort of a lot of individual entities, honestly. I have 5 individual entities here. Hellebron, double Manticore. I did have Alariel, so I was like, well, if there's a time to bring Hellebron, it's when you got Alariel on your team. I've got 2 Masters. I've got Hargonath Executioner, some Shades off center from the Bull Thrower in case the Bull Thrower gets dived, they would be able to shoot in. On the far flank, there was some Chaos Knights, but no screen for the Chaos Knights, so right away I think that's a misplay from this Chaos player. There is the Chaos Sorcerer Shadows. This is Invicta over here. Invicta is playing the High Elves. He's got the 2 units of Sword Masters, 2 units of White Lions. He's got double Ithilmar Chariot, Mage of Shadows with Pendulum, and the standard stuff. Occam's is a bit of a surprising pick. That could be a lot of damage if it goes on the Sword Masters. And he's got Smoke and Mirrors. I do think it's really hard to get the Sword Masters to work. Maybe 1 unit of Sword Masters if you do have the shooting advantage and you force things to come to you. But if you use them offensively, it's tough, man. I think it's really tough. So what you'll see here in the early plays, Invicta's going to try and get a lot of cycle charges in on me with his chariots, and I'm going to be responding to those chariots with my masters. At 900 gold, they're pretty cost effective. I'm also able to screen out the Sorceress of Shadows, or the High Mage, or whatever. High Mage, or Shadow Mage, whatever. They're called Mage. For me, I play Dark Elf, so I'm used to calling them Sorceresses, but it's a Mage for the High Elves. So yeah, the Noble's going to, actually, his animation was kind of weird there. He sort of just ran right past the Ithilmar chariot. I was like, dude, watch where you're going. But he's gonna just basically hound them. This one's gonna do the same thing here. Just try and make it difficult for those Ithilmars to get where they need to go. It does look like because of some janky animation stuff, they are able to force path their way through certain things, and I don't have the Foe Seeker on them, so they are pretty fast. But yeah, over here the Eagle Claw Bolthor is taking out my Bolthor, so it's pretty tough for me right now. I mean, but I am forcing his micro a lot. Actually, this guy's just going for a ride. Some weird pathings going on here. That Master is just getting pushed by the Ithilmar Chariot and not actually able to hit it. So I don't know what's going on there. But I dodged the Pendulum from the Shadow Mage, so I was pretty happy about that. I'm like, all right, I do have some Dark Riders in reserve here, so I can start getting them to take some shots on the Swordmasters or these White Lions or whatever. I don't know if I even tried to get into charge there. I have been kind of dancing around here with my Masters, just trying to keep them online. But it did force him at least to withdraw his Chariots for a minute here, which freed up some space for my Cobalt Knights to get in charge on the White Lions. But it's going to be just a touch and go because White Lions do have AP, and I don't want to lose my Cobalt Knights. Mostly I just wanted to free up space for my Shades to do some work here. It does look like a unit of White Lions have gotten into some Spears here, and I probably need to shift this unit of Spears over because I'm a little loose over here, loosey-goosey. I kept my Harganeth Executioners in reserve because I did not want them taking shots to the face from the two Bolt Throwers early on. But now that I see the Swordmasters are coming into range here, I will start engaging the Harganeth Executioners. I've been talking a lot about my flank, so let's see what's going on over here at the Hiles. So it looks like Ryan has met the predictable charge of the Chaos Knights, and Archaon, who's popped Slayer of Kings. Slayer of Kings on Alarielle should be able to cut her up pretty quickly, I would imagine. Definitely not where Alarielle wants to be, but Spears and the Dragon Princes and the Alarielle's Star should keep things alive a little bit, except Slayers of Kings might still chunk Alarielle's face off pretty fast, even through the heal. So Alarielle definitely needs to be pulled back. These archers are a little bit tied up. I'm going to shift back over to this fight over here. Sorcerer Shadows, it looks like she's been caught out a little bit here. I'm going to get a rear charge with the Cold Knights, be able to break her tag with Hellebron, the Blood Circle, because this is kind of the key engagement right here. Get the Shadowcaster off, break this unit of White Lions, opens up a charge opportunity for me with the Spearman, and there's no actual cav unit for these high elves, right? So they are a little bit vulnerable to these individual entities. And there's no nobles as well, right? All he's got is like Shadowcaster shooting, and that's it, right? So my Cobalt Knights have been free to do whatever they want pretty much the whole game. The Cobalt Knights are, well, basically if the Masters can tag the Ithilmar Chariots and somehow magically freeze them for any point in time, then the Cobalt Knights should be able to like sort of lock them up and finish them off. But yeah, basically I think the lack of duelists on the High Elf roster and the lack of like actual cavalry has really come to hurt them. It's hard to run two Swordmasters, and these Manticores can basically be used like chariots to just cycle charge the Swordmasters, cause them to ball up, then he's got to force path them again to get them where he wants to go. I can get him rear charges, all that good juicy stuff. So over here things are going well for me. On this far flank with Ryan, it looks like Alarielle was able to escape to safety, but these Chaos Knights have just been chunked down slowly but surely, I think, from the Spears. These Chaos Warriors have gotten in here, though. They're gonna do very well against the Spears. And there's a Noble on a Eagle. He's cool. Alarielle's gonna get chopped up here. Maybe archers have regrouped. They're gonna shoot in at the Chaos Warriors. But these are Mirror Guard with shields in the woods and with pretty heavy armor. This is non-AP shooting except for the Everqueen's Court Guard. So most of that damage is going to be snuffed, but the Everqueen's Court Guard can certainly do some damage. We shall see. It looks like the two nobles on the Eagles are going in here on Archaon. They'll probably be able to kill him. I think that's a good situation for them. For myself, it's kind of like a push and pull here. Well, initially, my opponent, Invicta, had been pushing. It's now my turn to push, and I'm getting into his backline, shutting down some of his bolt throws with the Cobalt Knights. And I think you can kind of see where this battle's going, so I'm going to fast forward now. At this point, all of Invicta's stuff ends up shattering. I think once I tag this mage one more time, yeah, it's gonna all shatter. And then it was just a question of cleaning up the chaos in the end. So, well played to Invicta. That was a fun game. Yeah, I forgot to reman my bolt throwers with the repeater of both the crews until it was time to clean up chaos. But yeah, Invicta's cool, man. He was really respectful and polite, but he did leave after that game. He only wanted to play one game. Maybe he was tired. He said he was taking a break from script writing. Okay, so we got Sadao now going up against Tomb Kings with Sunster. So let's see how it goes. Sunster is rocking. So I often see Sadao play Tomb King, so it's kind of interesting to see him on the other side of things. So what would Sadao bring against the Tomb Kings? The answer is apparently Repeater Bolthors and Blackguard, which is an interesting choice. No Witch Elves that I've seen. Witch Elves can be good if they do go construct heavy because you can pin them in place. But Blackguard are nice because the AP and the immune to psychology, which is big. And Vortex spells, I mean, I think he's relying on the Repeater Bloodthorns to deal with things like Cascade of Souls and stuff so that the Blackguard don't just get killed from long distance shooting. Of course, Ushabti Greatbow can do okay against them, but Ushabti Greatbow are probably best used against like large targets, but they'll do okay against Blackguard as well. So how many Ushabti does he have to worry about? Just one. So both Thors trade very cost efficiently with Ushabti. So Tomb King is, it looks like they're going to decide to advance here. I do think they could be patient because the range of Grand Hierophant Ketep is really good. 440 range. Compare that to the Bolthors, they only have 350 range. So honestly, Tomb King could have just backed up here. And if I were playing Tomb King with this army, that's what I would have done. I would have continued to shoot with Grand Hierophant Ketep. Look, he's behind a hill and behind a screen of trees. Like, he's in a beautiful position to just shoot the Bolthors or shoot the Blackguard or chip down whatever he wants to. So I think that's a bit of a misplay from the Tomb King player to, well, I mean, it's not the end of the world to attack, but look at all this defensive infantry from Sadao. Like, I mean, it's very obvious that Sadao wants to play defense here with 3 units of spears, 4 units of spears, and 3 units of Blackguard, and a defense of cavalry in the Kolovan Knights. It's 100% clear that Sadao is wanting to play defense here, which is uncommon for the Dark Elves, but it's like one of those, like, if your opponent doesn't bring enough of one thing, it can throw their whole game plan off. So that seems to be the case here for Sadao, what he's been able to do against this Tomb King player. So 3 Bolthors going in on the Chosen of the Gods. That's a terrible situation for them to be in. Looks like some Carrion are going to be dived down to try and shut down one Bolthor, but that's an act of desperation in my opinion. Those Carrion are going to be chopped up immediately from the Kolovan Knights. So yeah, it should be at least early on, I'm very much in favor of the Dark Elves. And this is what I don't necessarily understand. Like, if you're going to push up, you might as well push up all the way, get those Skelly Warriors into combat and start chopping some Dread Spears, get whatever poverty charge bonus you can get from that. But yeah, it looks perhaps his attention got distracted from the presence of Malkith. A whole bunch of debuffs being dropped on him, but he's going to just say thank you and lift up in the air. There is no net, it looks like, from the Tomb King player. It is a Necrotech and a Tomb Prince. Necrotech is a bit of a I think it's a suboptimal choice. I mean, I like the Chariot, don't get me wrong. The Chariot's very useful. If you're going to play defense, you can use them to interrupt, but like regular Ushabti, I don't think it's the best use of the heal that the Necrotech can bring. I think the Necrotech is best used if you're going to bring like high tier constructs, which would be your Necropolis Knights, or it's going to be your Hyro Titans or your Bone Giants. That's when you want the Necrotech. If you just got regular Ushabti, in my opinion, those are pretty much disposable. I mean, if anything, if he was going to do it on anything, he should have popped the heal on the Chosen of the Gods. He could have pulled them back, healed them up, brought them back in to maybe fight the Bolthors the second time. I did not see that happen. I just saw the Ushabti just crumble straight out. Grand Hierophant Ketep is still active though, but now Tomb Kings is kind of in a tough situation here. He's sort of in two places. He got his front line pushed up, and then Grand Hierophant Ketep is way back. So honestly, Sadao could just fly over there again with Malkith if he wanted to, and probably just eliminate Grand Hierophant Ketep. He can fight the Nahakor Horseman and Grand Hierophant Ketep if he wanted to. We are going to see a Soul Stealer come down here from Malkith, and perhaps he's going to, I don't know if he's going to go in here and fight the Ushabti. Looks like he's trying to decide where he wants to land. Probably does not want to land. Oh, okay, I was wrong. He's going to go straight at the Tomb Prince. He's going to get the charge in. I mean, getting the charge is okay, but the two heroes on the Tomb King roster are probably the things that are best able to deal with Malkith. On the other hand, Sadao does have spear screens here, and this Necrotech is not really able to get in contact, I think, and get clear hits. Tomb Strike's going down on Malkith, so he is taking damage, but the Tomb Prince is fully surrounded by Dread Spears, and we do have Murderous Prowess, which is just pop. So you see all the purple indicators going up on the Dread Spears. That means that the Tomb Prince is going to take that much more damage. And here comes Grand Hierophant Ketep. I still think Malkith probably would have been best used killing Grand Hierophant Ketep, but he does have the ability to kill a Tomb Prince anyways, but yeah. He would have got more value killing Ketep. And probably just dropping some breaths before. Like he could drop a breath or two. I haven't seen any breaths go down. Maybe I missed that. So here comes a rear charge from some Skelly Horsemen. that's going to do some pretty good damage to the Dread Spears. This is turning into a closer battle than expected. Look at all the damage that Malekith has taken from those debuffs and other things. I think it's very much unnecessary damage. If I can put in my opinion, I know the decision. I know that Malekith really wants to take that Tomb Prince off of the map, but I think there's maybe better ways of doing that than just diving it. Because like out of all the things on the Tomb King roster, the thing that's best equipped to deal with Malekith is the Tomb Prince. And if Malekith goes anywhere else, then he'll be in good shape. But actually, Balance Bar is trending in favor of Tomb Kings here, surprisingly. So we'll see if the resilience of these Blackguard can hold out. Cold One Knights, it looks like they've started to rampage. I think they were needed against the Necrotech. Bolt Throwers have been shut down. All three Bolt Throwers are offline. But the Shopti summon, I think, is probably starting to crumble. Of course, they are fighting 2 Ushopti in a unit of Blackguards. It's going to be really tough for them. Here's the Breath. There we go. That's how you deal with a Tomb Prince. So a huge Breath coming down on the Tomb Prince, and then a charge should finish him off. Counterplay from the Tomb Kings. They're going to drop a Sandstorm here. But yeah, against Tomb King, I think if you can just take the leadership off the field, like most stuff is around base 20-30 leadership. It's just going to crumble right out. So that's why I would go for the Lord Gooning first before fighting the Duelists. But yeah, I mean, the Breath attacks on a Black Dragon, you get the most value usually against infantry, but I understand if you can bog down the Tomb Prince and hit him with a Breath attack, probably that's just as good as going after Skelly Warrior. So I think this should seal the deal. I'm going to fast forward a little bit here. Malekith, ooh, he's going to get rear charge from the Necrotech. I got a sneaky play there from the Tomb King, but another charge I'm sure will come in here. But yeah, I think there's no way for Tomb Kings to come back now. They just have a really expensive Lord who's not going to be able to fight any of that there, and a Necrotech who also is not going to be able to fight. Ooh, Malekith taking some damage. But he could just turn around and fight. Yeah, and that's all she wrote. So thanks for that, Sidao. That was fun to watch. Oh, you dropped a Breath on Katep. Okay, cool. Yeah, that works. I mean, but was Katep snared in early on? I don't know if that Breath even hit him, but yeah, the Bolt Throwers worked well in terms of like forcing him into an offensive situation, which he probably wasn't expecting against Dark Elf. The Blackguard did fantastic against the Ushopti. Fortunately for you, you ended up seeing 2 Ushopti, but it's not uncommon to see, like, I mean, if it wasn't Ushopti, it would have been a Tomb Scorpion or a Construct or something like that. So, I mean, the Blackguard do definitely have a role there. Cold One Knights, I guess they did okay, clearing out the Carrion pretty quickly, but I think it could have been done faster with just regular Witch Elves. But of course, you don't know. Maybe he would have like a Necrosphinx or Cameron War Sphinx, in which case the Cold One Knights would have paid a lot of dividends. Malekith, of course, he's just a beast. He's one of the strongest lords in the game, if not the strongest. So yeah, he definitely paid for himself as well. Okay, so let's get on to the next game. What do we have? Greenskin again from Sidao, going up against Bretonnia. I'm seeing a lot of prophetesses popping up lately. Like, is that a new thing? Prophetess of Life? Like, I mean, why wouldn't you just bring the Fae? If you're gonna bring a life caster, like, she's like one of the best casters in the game. And you can cast the melee attack buff with the, I don't know, but sometimes people don't bring stuff just because it's the most competitive. Sometimes it's just fun for them, or they get bored of running the standard stuff and they want to play around with other builds. I mean, that happened to me last night, so I get it. Knights Errant pushing in on some skirmishers. Skirmishers should be able to kite that easily. They're much faster. Oh, looks like they've halted. So Bretonnian military discipline kicking in here. Shields are going to screen a lot of the shots. And charge bonus is going to be enough. There's about 57 speed. These guys are 59 speed? Whoa. What is snaring these? What is making these guys slow? They're getting hit with their own poison? The Forest Goblin Spider Riders shot themselves, made themselves slow enough that the Knights Errant were able to hit them. That is so weird. Look, this unit has a poison debuff. This unit has a poison debuff. This unit has a poison debuff. That is crazy. I definitely did not expect that. So, man, maybe if you close... So this is... Actually, Tanker wanted me to make a comment about this because he saw this a lot in the tournaments. When Skirmish Cav bunch up, stuff like this happens. So he was saying the skirmish cav need to, even though they're skirmish cav, they still need to do the firing pocket. In the tourney, he saw a lot of players do this, even good players, and they could all be hit by a vortex spell or all be hit by a snare or whatever else. Or in this case, they're being hit by their own freaking poison, which is meaning that the Knights Errant are able to tag them and take them offline. So this is crazy stuff. So definitely Knights Errant getting some value where they shouldn't be getting some value. Anyway. Orc Boy is coming in here. Said I was like, what the hell, man? How you gonna do me like that? Where's that going front line? So not afraid of any Bretonnian shooting, and that's because there is no Bretonnian shooting. Usually Bretonnians will bring at least some bowmen, and bowmen would be a perfect counter to Wurzag. But Wurzag is just gonna go right in here and dive with his boys, get in that charge bonus. Ooh, nice side charge here from Bretonnians, Questy Knights, and other things coming into the Greenskin Cavalry. Nice counterplay, send over the trolls here. Leadership is always an issue for the Greenskins. I wonder if does he have Fist of Gork? So here's the thing, like if I'm Wurzag and I see a charge coming in here, I would probably want to cast Fist of Gork on these Boar Boy Biggins because they do so much damage, but their weakness is in the melee defense. If you can give them a little bit of melee defense, then they're going to trade up for you like so heavily in terms of value. But yeah, Wurzag's got other tricks up his sleeve, and in this case, it's a big brain burster. And look at the melee attack ripping up to 55 now. Probably the Bonewood Staff proc is in there too. I'm not seeing it show up on the actual unit card. Oh yeah, I think it is. I think this is the Bonewood Staff. Yeah, there we go. Plus 12 melee attack from Bonewood Staff, plus 20 from the Wog. So that's a plus 32 melee attack that these Boar Boy Biggins are doing right now. So they're definitely landing hits. They do pretty good weapon strength. The question is, are they going to stick around long enough to get max value out of that? And I think the answer to that is likely no, because they're taking a lot of hits. But, well, maybe. They're wavering, but no. Yeah, they just held firm there. So that's a big win for Sadao. Very close. Over here, Fanatics being used to do some damage on some Man-at-Arms. So that is a micro-intensive play there, but Sadao getting full advantage of that. So that's a sign of a good player, just being able to use those Fanatics while all this other stuff is going on. These Knights Errant have been distracted by the skirmishers, so that's a win for Sadao. What those Knights Errant need to be doing, instead of chasing skirmishers, they need to just be diving this backline and supporting in the cav fights. They need to just ignore the skirmishers with poison. As annoying as they are, they're not equipped to deal with that. In my opinion, what is equipped to deal with that is probably the Men-at-Arms. I mean, even if they kill them, it's still resources lost, right? That's 700 gold versus, I think these are about 450, so that's 350 gold worth of difference that could probably be used elsewhere. And in this case, that means that elsewhere is supporting the mainline fight. Green Knight is over here getting absolutely smashed by Wurzag. Look at this. Wurzag with the magic damage. No doubt. Oh, no. He probably... maybe he's already popped that magic damage. So because he didn't cast the... So this is the thing. So Wurzag probably saved the... Do any of these things have it? So the Fist of Gork, because he saw the Green Knight. So I was saying earlier he could have used it on the Boar Boys, but actually I think Sadao made the right play by being disciplined because he saw the Green Knight, and the Green Knight is ethereal with a lot of physical resist. So of course, if you cast the hand of Gork, or what is it? What's it called? I always get this wrong. It is the Fist of Gork. It gives you magical damage. So Fist of Gork, you pop that when you're fighting the Green Knight dies. That's the moral of the story. And he's a 2,000 gold character, so he's going to get erased very quickly here, I think. And if he dies, that's going to shift the balance bar really heavily, and that's an immediate surrender from Bretonnia. Oh, he put it on the Goblin Big Boss. I mean, you get more damage out of Wurzag than the Goblin Big Boss, so why not cast it on Wurzag? Plus, your Lord is more valuable, Sadao. So you get the defensive stats on your Lord. Unless you wanted to just keep Wurzag out of combat entirely. But if it were me, I probably would have put it on Wurzag. Alright. Did I do this one already? Otter Lizardman. I don't remember if I cast that one already. Let's do a 4v4 cast. No, I'm not in the mood for a 4v4 cast now. They tend to be longer, and I've already done a lot of games. I'm gonna just stick with the 1v1s for now. Gibber versus Gilles Le Breton. Gibber is playing High Elves. Anti-heroes? Yeah, that's true. That's true. But even with anti-heroes, I don't know. Like the base weapon strength of a Goblin Big Boss is not very high. And often I don't even bring this sort of anti-heroes because it's only plus 20% on his base weapon strength, which is around 330 if I recall. So 20% on 330, 10% would be like 30 damage. So he's getting plus 60 damage. So 330 would put him up to like 400 weapon strength. I think Wurzag probably hits at around base 400, more or less. So that's what I think. I'm not sure. You can double check that later maybe and let me know. So let's fast forward here. So this is a bigger map actually. It's kind of a big map for a 1v1. It tends to favor a lot of mobility. High elves are fairly mobile. They've got these silver helms. They're going to get a nice charge into the dryads. Wood elves taking advantage of the buffs that they get from fighting in trees here, but Gleedgar is going to get tagged here by the silver helms. So these silver helms picking up some really nice value early on for the high elves and just microing themselves out of the range of the Eternal Guard. Oh, micro mistake here. They got tagged a little bit, but they're going to peel it back. Okay, so aggregate shooting is chipping them down. Now we've got the mainline engagement. Spears coming in here, tagging these other units of spears across the board. And yeah, Signs of Mathlon, they're going to hold strong for a little while. We do have a Vortex spell coming down here. These are the Golden Hounds from Orion. Orion's one of those tanky lords, a little bit like Tyrion. He's one of those lords you usually just want to ignore, and you got to try and kill the what else otherwise. Elithanar, I think, is trying to shoot Orion, but he would be better off trying to snipe the Spellslinger of Beasts. And the Spellslinger of Beasts is just going to give him a little reminder by sending a Manticore his way and saying, "You dope, why aren't you shooting me?" And that's a lesson learned for Elithanar, I guess. Over here, these Wood Elves are able to shoot in unobstructed into the archers. So usually High Elf archers have better range than the Wood Elf archers, so they should be able to fall back and do that. I don't know. Seaguard are kind of a strange pick against Wood Elves because you probably want to maximize your shooting range against Wood Elves. And I mean, are you really worried about like a lot of Wood Elf cavalry? Like, are you expecting like a ton of Glade Guard? Sorry, what are they called? Wild Riders? Like, so if you bring two, I mean, Seaguard would be like okay-ish against cavalry on the flanks, but I mean, I don't know. Most Wood Elf players bring like max two Glade Guard. You already got like Silver Helms and other things, and spears, regular spears that can deal with that. So I don't know. I don't know if I like the Lothran Seaguard pick here against Wood Elves, but maybe I don't know. Maybe there's other matchups they're good at. Glade Guard are going to shoot in on the Swordmasters. There is some AP damage from these. Oh no, these are magic damage ones. Oh yeah, these ones have the AP damage. So, oh, that's interesting. Only 2 AP damage on the Glade Guard with, oh no, 16 AP damage. Oh, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. Yeah, 16 Glade. So I was thinking about it the other day. The Bretonnians, they don't really have any AP shooting. All their AP shooting comes from their like duelists and stuff like that. But Lizardmen are really strong now with the big dinos and the really heavy armor. And I would like to see the Bretonnians get access to an armor sundering missile unit. I feel like they need that very badly. Just like the Greenskins have the Rusty Airs. Like, Greenskins will never be a faction, I think, that is considered top tier in shooting, but they should have a keep you honest kind of option, and that's what the Rusty Airs are. Like, if you lose the Rusty Airs, then okay, you've lost an answer to the armor, and you only get one of them, right? But I think the Bretonnians should have an archer unit that does some armor sundering, or at least some armor penetration, if not armor sundering. And I was also thinking about the Greenskins. I do think the Greenskins need more access to magic damage. I think there should be a unit of Savage Orcs called the Weirduns or something, some tokens or whatever that give them access to magic damage. And again, if you want to make it an ROR, whatever it is, fine. But like Skaven, they've got those Plague Mark Sense Bearers with the magic damage. But there's nothing like that for the Greenskins. So I'd like to see like more dedicated magic options for the Greenskins. Anyways, Signs of Mathlon taking some shots here from. Okay, thanks for checking, Sidaf. 340. Okay, that's good to know. Orion is going to kite this Lord Master to oblivion, and I think the High Elves are pretty much smashed here. Like, just Wood Elves doing what Wood Elves do best, which is shoot. I mean, High Elves can out-trade Wood Elves, honestly, in the shooting if they just bring regular archers. But you need to bring probably 5 units of regular archers, and then you got to use your mobility to to maximize their range. Lithanar, I think he's mostly been denying good targets. He is getting some shots on the Spellslinger finally, but well, actually, Heil's making a bit of a play here. Orion is pretty low. Well, they rally, but no, everything's shattered. Everything's shattered here. I think it's going to be really hard. Like, you could see the Wood Elves clearly have control of the center of the map at this point, and their forces are kind of together, whereas Heil's got smashed off to the periphery. It's going to be hard to regroup. So, yep. Congrats to Tanker on that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units of Glade Guard. So, Heil's 4 units of Lothrian Sea Guard, not getting value. Swordmasters, not getting value. Ulithanar, not really. I think there were some issues with the army select here. I think Gibber would have had to decide to do one of two things. Either he's got to commit to attacking, in which case you bring a big screen of shields, so like probably 5 regular spearmen, and then a couple of, like, I don't know, Phoenix Guard maybe would be good, in case they have like Ancient Treemen or stuff like that. And you can also brace against cav, and then probably some light cavalry to just snare things and make it so that the Wood Elves can't kite you. I would bring like maybe 5 units of Illyrian Reavers, 2 units of Phoenix Guard, or 1 unit of Phoenix Guard, and then it's like 5 spears and maybe 2 white lines or something like that. And then I don't know. There are other ways of doing it as well. You can go like double hand. If you're going to shooting, then you go like maybe double handmaiden, Olithanar, 5 units of archers, again the spear screen, and then light cavalry, something like that. But wait, isn't what illegal? 6 units of Glade Guard? They were. I think they're just stand and shoot Glade Guard. I don't know what tourney rules are, but this was a ladder game. But I think they're okay. They're not Parthian shot or anything like that. I mean, these are all ladder games, so I'm assuming he's playing with ladder rules. Is this the last one we got here? What do we got? What is all this stuff? I don't even know. Just a mess of stuff. Let's do Wood Elves versus Dark Elves. I don't think I showed that one. Oh, Wood Elf versus Heil. Okay, I got 3 more. Yeah, Leader of Savage. Okay, so Norska versus Bretonia. Yeah, I've got 2 more replays, and that's it. Yeah, I think you're allowed a maximum of 3 Parthian shot units, like, that can 360 fire arc, fire while moving. But like regular stand and shoot, I mean, in quick battle you're allowed up to 12 missile units, and I think you can have 6 units of one type without breaking any tournament rules for the regular shots. I mean, I could double check that later, but I don't think he did anything that's unheard of there. So Marauders. Marauder Berserkers, they had some decent shooting. So this is how Tango likes to run this. So these Marauder Hunters have armor centering, right? So they have short range, but if they can get a tag in and sunder the armor of something like King Luin, then these hunters are going to do massive damage to Javelin. So he's kind of got 2 squads here. He's got 1 squad of the Marauder Hunters over here, and another squad, I think. Did I see another squad over here? Maybe I'm hallucinating. Well, yeah, here. So he's got 2 Marauder Hunters, Javelin. And he actually chevron these guys up. So their melee stats are like decent. They're actually up to 40 melee attack. So they're going to be able to dish it out like decently well. Their weapon strength is pretty low. I don't know if it's worth chevroning them up, honestly. But Tanker obviously thinks so. We'll find out. He's gone very wide here, so he's challenging the Bretonians to, I guess, use their mobility, and I guess he's willing to say, okay, well, if you go off on the side with your flyers to try and chase these guys, it would be a bit like the Vampire Counts matchup where they just commit so many resources to chasing around crap that they can't hold their front line. So maybe that's what's going to happen here. These guys look really cool. Let's just look at them for a little bit. Awesome. In the back, we've got the Damsel of Life hidden in the woods, 2 trebuchets, and Holy Wardens, Paladin, King Luin Kerr, Royal Hippos, no pegs. Interesting. If you're going to bring the Hippo Knights, I think you should bring some Peg Knights as well. Because It's a bit like using trolls in. So here's the thing: like everyone knows, if you have trolls, if you have rat ogres, whatever, you should surround them by some chaff so that the unit models don't take a beating. But for some reason, when it comes to flyers, people don't apply that logic anymore. But it still holds true. If you have Hippogriff Knights and you screen them with Peg Knights, then the Peg Knights take the damage instead of the Hippo Knights, and you keep those very precious 6-unit models online. They become that much harder to kill. That's why I think if you are going to go with the hippos, you probably want to also bring like some pegs. Plus it'll hit super hard, and you'll be able to break things like chaff. So they are going to go in here. Got to charge in on the berserkers. Do have a side charge coming from the defender's Fleur Lee. Looks like Marauder Chieftain's going to try and get over there and interrupt, but yeah, rear charge coming in from Bretonnia players. Very nice stuff off the bat from both players. I'm going to slow this down because there's a lot going on here. So Tanker's being able to get his skirmishers in on the Blessed Field Trebuchets in the back. Over here, this other unit of questing knights has been sort of baited out, fighting some Marauder Horse Masters. He has no chance of catching them. It probably should have just stuck on the Trebs, turned in, and just, I guess, held the line. Holy Wardens, they do have... oh, no, they do not have shields. I thought the Battle Pilgrims had shields. Huh, they do not. So... I think some sort of shield unit might have been useful here to maybe screen the Trebs or even some peasants. But peasant mob in the front are going to be useless against Narska. Like, I think you can go with peasant mob against certain factions, but against Narska, I mean, you might as well not even have them there. They're going to get run over immediately, especially without any supporting like buffs like a Grail War Leak or something like that. I mean, they're just gone. They might as well not even be there. Look at these hippos. They've been in combat way too long. Look at all the damage that they're taking. They need to be cycled out of there. That is a 2,000 gold unit that has just been lost fighting in a unit of Marauder Berserkers and Spears. So that is a huge win for Tanker. That's going to push the balance bar really heavily. Lewin is getting distracted, chasing after stuff it should not be chasing after. If you want to take out things like Marauder Hunters and Marauder Hunters with Javelins, then your best answers to that as a Bretonian are probably your Mounted Yeoman or your Knights Errant. It's not a job for Lewin. I think the Bretonnian player has realized that, but yeah, just his front line just could not hold. He had zero chance of protecting those trebuchets against what Tanker brought with all that mobility and 20 units, right? 20 units to 20 units. So front lines run over here. I think it's going to be just a question of hunting down the life caster, and then once the life caster is dead, then of course you can go after and kill Lewin Kerr, unless Lewin Kerr just happens to die anyways, which seems to be the case. Well, he'll escape here and probably rally, and maybe no, it's done. More score. So win there for Tanker. Not enough front line for the Bretonnian player. If Tanker had gone heavy on monsters, maybe that would have worked a lot better for the build that Bretonnian built. But just, yeah, I mean, if you grab 2 Trebs against Bretonnia and stick those 2 Trebs next to each other, it's going to be really, first of all, really hard to defend them. Secondly, they're both going to go offline from one unit and of skirmish cav or whatever, and that's what happened there. We have 2 replays left. Count them, 2. And then I'm done for a little bit. I'm going to go do some painting. I need more coffee too. So, Knights of the Blazing Sun, 4 units of Pistoliers, 2 units of Outriders Grenade Launchers, Spear Screen, and Infantry Screen. I like it against Vampire Counts. You probably want to kite and shoot them. In return, Hexer are going to try and be that glue unit. Probably they need to be kept backline. This is, if you are a Deathball build, let your Deathball take the damage, and then you want to just countercharge and pan with these guys. And that looks like, that seems to be what the Vampire player is doing. A bit of a gamble here, bringing a Vampire Lord unsupported up in the air with no anti-air shooting. In terms of like abilities to kite, all he's got is to rely on is his speed. Of course, if the Empire were to bring a light wizard, that could be an issue. Balthazar Gelt is just, I guess, a token lord here. He can drop a couple of things here and there, like those metal shards, I forget what they call it, and then Plague of Rust. But he's mostly just there to, I think, debuff the armor so that he gets more value out of Pistoliers and other things. So charge coming in here from the Knights of the Blazing Sun, tagging some Dire Wolves who are sleeping, and that's going to be a really nice pickup for for Tanker, getting this nice little Blazing Sun in here. Direwolf's being shot up by the grenades as well. Grenades will do massive damage. Might also do a little damage to the Knights of the Blazing Sun there, some friendly fire. But overall, pretty good start for Tanker. Crypt whatever, horrors, ghouls, crypt ghouls are being killed there. I wish they would have a different name for them. I always get the ghouls and the horrors mixed up. But anyway, they should call them like, not Tomb, because that's a Tomb King thing. I don't know. Grave ghouls? I don't know. Anyway, Hexerase coming in here. They're going to try and tag these Knights of the Blazing Sun. They'll do good here. Knights of the Blazing Sun, I guess they're a pick in case you're expecting some regen. So if they had Vargulfs or something like that, Knights of the Blazing Sun would do very well against that. And it's not uncommon to see a Vargulf pick against Empire. So I do like the army select very much from Tanker here. Look at the damage that's going on here. The Crypt Ghouls are getting absolutely erased, as are the Skelly Spearmen. The Skelly Spears are trying to just brace here, but Tanker has full control of the flanks right now, and these units are being used like really offensively, I guess. They did kill a unit of Knights of the Blazing Sun, so we'll have to monitor that closely, but I think the Counts player has just got to push up his front line and start getting these guys to do some damage. This is 3 units of Graveguard that are just completely idle, just taking shots to the face from Outriders with grenade launchers. They need to force that front line engagement while the Hexerase just like get everything to stick on them while they're fighting. I don't know. The Hexerase are going to do pretty good damage, I guess, here against the Skirmishers, but there's mostly Pistoliers. I don't think Tanker cares too much. But we'll see if he can take them out. Pistoliers are going to come in here and fight the Direwolves. Direwolves are already pretty damaged, so I guess even the mid to low combat stats of the Pistoliers are going to be enough to probably finish them off. More shots here, just chipping things away. Knights of the Blazing Sun getting in another charge here on Skelly Spears. And Pistoliers are keeping these Hexerase really busy, and no micro whatsoever from the Vampire player for his front line. He's just content to be shot. I don't know. So I'm going to fast forward this one a little bit here, unless I see something incredible to pull the balance bar back. I think this one's going to go in Tanker's favor. But the Chill Guys are a big deal. If Tanker does lose his Knights of the Blazing Sun, it might be hard to deal with the Chill Guys. But what is this Lord doing? He's chasing after the Pistoliers. Like, he got fully distracted by these Pistoliers and spent all of his time microing, I guess, his Chill Guys against the Pistoliers. Oh, cheeky charge there from Tanker to try and pin the Lord. He almost got him. He's going to try and pin him again. Chill Guys are going to finally break off the Skirmishers, but not before the Skirmishers use pretty much all of their ammo. So, yeah, and I think a few heals have already gone into the Chill Guys, so they're getting kind of low. Well, balance bar is still pretty even. Maybe I need to give this one its fair due. But, yeah, the Hexerase and the Chill Guys crumble, which they just did. That's going to be really tough, and that's going to be an immediate surrender from the Vamps. I mean, I don't know, maybe it was too early. The Graveguard, some of them were still up. They might have been able to cut down the spears, and the Lord could have maybe tagged Gelt. I mean, the Knights of the Blazing Sun were off the field, but yeah, I don't know. The Outriders could have still pinned. Yeah, I like Tinker's build. I don't know about the Witch Hunters there. I didn't see them do too much, but the Skirmishers were fantastic, and the Chaff held the line. But again, I think that there was some miss micro there from his opponent there to just not engage the front lines. So yeah, and then the last one here, Wood Elves versus Dark Elves, and then I'm going to take a break. So Supreme Sorceress of something or other, maybe it's fire against Wood Elves. That would be my bet. Let's see if that's what we see. Supreme Sorceress of Fire on the big dragon. Supreme Sorceress of Fire does have access to a lot of vortex spells. Excuse me. So it can do quite well against spears if it's able to tag them. Now, the one thing about the Wood Elf spears is that they're pretty fast on their feet. Of course, it can do well to Dryads too, but Dryads are in skirmish formation. So for the Burning Head to get max value against the Dryads, you kind of have to wait for the Dryads to commit to a fight and then rip it across the line. If you drop it right away, because of the loose formation, you might not tag a ton of unit models. Whereas the Graveguard, they are tightly packed, so those Burning Heads tend to be a little bit more effective. But they also have decent foot speed. Like Wood Elves are sitting around 33 foot speed. So they can, to a certain extent, kite it. It's not like Vampire Coast Chaff. So actually against Wood Elves, I tend to, like, controversially maybe prefer the pendulum. A single pendulum can, like, basically eliminate a unit of Glade Guard, and a second pendulum can almost eliminate a second unit of Glade Guard. So if you imagine, if you were fighting this battle and you rip two pendulums, one here and one here, he would be down to what, 4 units of spears? Yeah, I guess in this case he has plenty of 5. Okay, he's got tons of spears. He's got a lot of spear coverage for his missile unit, but against certain Wood Elf players, sometimes they only have 3 to 5 units of spears. So if you kill 2 of them, then all of a sudden he's got a lot of gaps in his defense. Anyway, I do think an infantry build is the right choice for this map. It's very, very, like, clustery. Ooh, a bit of a miscast here, I think. He's going to tag a few Glade Guard, but they're just going to walk out of the way and say thank you for 10 Winds of Magic. You did absolutely nothing. Dark Riders are going to try and push their way into here, and they're going to almost force past their way. But against Wood Elves, I often see Wood Elf players bring a lot of spears, and cavalry has a really hard time microing around spears. So against that, you might want to bring, oh my goodness, diving the backline already. That's really early for a caster to be diving in the backline like a big dragon, but we'll see. I do think she should probably be kept in reserve. She's got Bleak Swords here, and Bleak Swords win against Eternal Guard. Like, wait for your Bleak Swords to kill. You don't need to dive the backline. Just be patient here. That's a very expensive lord. Over here, Dark Riders are just getting screened out across the board. They don't really have any good targets, I'm going to be honest with you here. But yeah, anyway, like I was saying is, what else? You probably want to bring Harpies instead of Dark Riders, or bring both, because Harpies can fly over spear screens, and a lot of Wood Elf players rely on their spears to kind of obstruct infantry and protect their backline. These Raven Heralds are being used in melee to tie up a couple units of archers, but Harpies will do that job much, much better. These guys are not really meant for that. And I think it's really hard to use them in this match. They just don't have a lot of strength. Hey, remember when I said diving the backline wasn't a good idea? Guess what happened? Wasn't a good idea. The Sabrine Sorceress just got focus fire down and eliminated immediately. That's almost 3,000 gold worth of value if she's fully kitted out. So that's going to shift the balance bar really heavy in favor of Wood Elves right off the bat. Bleak Swords, even though they would have been able to win here against the Eternal Guard, they're going to get chipped down, and that's going to be a surrender from the Dark Elf player. So I hope you enjoy the replays. I've gone through a lot of replays at mostly breakneck speed. I'll take a break. You guys have a great day, and I'll catch you around. Bye bye. Thank you to Tanker and Sadao for the cast, by the way. See you later.